Picture the Great Wall of China. Most of us instantly imagine the exact same thing, one massive, unbroken brick barricade, erected by a single ancient emperor to permanently lock out foreign armies. But if this structure was designed strictly as an impenetrable shield, the existence of thousands of large gates and open passes across the line defies military logic. Furthermore, historical records show that nomadic armies repeatedly managed to cross this supposedly absolute barrier. What we call the Wall is actually a collection of fragmented defensive lines. Over 2 millennia, different dynasties constructed, destroyed, and rebuilt these sections, using whatever was available, often beginning with rammed earth and mud rather than the uniform stone tourists visit today. Understanding the frontier requires looking past the physical barrier and examining the individual systems that allowed the state to monitor and respond to movement. The northern frontier presented a brutal strategic asymmetry. Settled agricultural societies with large, static targets were trying to defend an enormous border against nomadic societies that possessed limitless mobility across the open steppe. A highly mobile force could raid a settlement and vanish before a standard army could even organize. Therefore, these defensive structures were never intended to instantly halt an invasion. Their primary job was to buy local commanders crucial time. That time management system relied on watchtowers positioned at strategic vantage points. They functioned as the network sensors, allowing guards to constantly monitor the vast terrain for approaching danger. When a threat was detected, guards initiated a communication network across vast distances. They used a simple binary system, columns of smoke during the day and signal fires at night. Guards would watch for a signal, then ignite their own, letting a warning travel down the line far faster than any horse could gallop. This alert allowed Central Command to deploy troops directly to the specific pass under threat. This communication network transformed the structure from a passive obstacle into an active military response system built to detect, delay, and coordinate. This strategy also explains why engineers chose to build along steep mountain ridges rather than flat, easily accessible terrain. It was an exercise in geographic force multiplication. By utilizing extreme natural terrain, engineers forced mobile enemies away from open fields and into narrow, predictable corridors, allowing a few hundred soldiers to control a massive area. Sustaining this geographic advantage required the state to coordinate the transport of heavy stone, brick, and lumber through remote, unforgiving environments. The human cost was grim. Conscripted workers, soldiers, and prisoners were forced to endure brutal conditions to build and maintain this infrastructure over the centuries. The physical scale of the wall served as a visible metric of the state's capacity to organize taxation, manage logistics, and mobilize human labor across the continent. The northern frontier was an active zone of commerce and trade with neighboring peoples, rather than a perpetual battlefield. The thousands of gates and passes were intentional administrative valves designed to manage this reality. By funneling all legitimate movement through these specific checkpoints, the government could strictly regulate the flow of merchants, check identities, and extract taxes. The physical architecture gave the ruling dynasties the leverage to dictate the terms of trade and control exactly who and what crossed the edge of their empire. Looking back at this 2,000-year investment, we have to ask, did this defensive system actually succeed? The historical irony is that the wall was never an absolute guarantee of safety. Determined and powerful enemies repeatedly found ways past the bricks. Successful breaches were rarely about physically destroying the architecture. Opposing forces exploited the human element, bypassing the defenses through political alliances, internal rebellions, diplomacy, or by simply capturing a gatehouse. These failures reveal the wall's true identity, an evolving frontier technology, constantly adapting to manage complex military and economic challenges. Look closely at the watchtowers and the signal stations. These ruins are the components of a machine built to answer the impossible challenge of a border that never stops changing.